On the W.L.A.K radio show.
Yes, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado radio show. It's more than music. It's ministry. And on the line with us, man, I have an amazing artist, musician, producer, and he's from Ohio. I got Swoope on the line, man. What's up, my brother?
Yeah, I'm coolin', man. Whenever you find this amazing musician, let me know. But
Oh,
I'm
man,
happy to
see,
be
here you go, man. Here you go, bro. Here you go, man. You acting like we ain't seen you playing them keys in different places, bro.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to keep the lights on. That wasn't just a line. That's real life.
I feel that, man. I definitely feel you, man. How you been doing, bro?
No complaints, man. The Lord is good. You know, life is hard, but God is good, as Truth said.
There you go.
No complaints.
There you go, man. I know you've since the last time we've done this, you've moved to Atlanta from Akron,
Yep.
so you traded one A for another A, man. How's that transition been?
I ain't traded. It's still accurate through and through. Tattooed on my left arm. Everybody down here know it, but it's good. You know, most people assume we moved for music, and we really moved to join a church plant.
Wow.
So it's really been awesome. You know, my wife and I literally have grown as Christians, as humans, as friends, as spouses, as parents more in the last 2 years than we have in our whole life. So the music stuff being down here is just the icing on the cake. So Atlanta's been good to us so far.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because I know isn't your mother a pastor?
Yep.
Yeah. So how has that been? Even leaving the home church to because you're at Tripp's Church in
I
Jono?
am. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. You know, it was definitely tough, very personal. But you know, she prayed when we were younger that we would follow the Lord's lead. So
Wow.
at the end of the day, she was like, you know, I got to get over my feelings because this is what I want you to do ultimately.
Yeah.
You know, if the Lord is leading you down there, then I'm 100% behind it. You know, no parent wants their child to just up and leave them. You know, we had started to plant roots in Akron, married, kids, and all those things. So we were always going to be close in her mind. And then, you know, boom, the Lord said go. So it was tough, but it was a good move.
Okay, man. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, man. She's not really missing you and your wife. She missing them grandkids, bro.
Oh, we know. We know. We know that very, very well. Hey, it's all good, man.
Yeah. So you had that transition, but then obviously you've also had the collision transition, man.
Yeah. Good move. You know, I addressed that on the record coming up. It was a good move. You know, those are good guys. Yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about them. You know, the facts are the facts. But me separating from collision was the best move. You know, that was tough as well on a personal level, but professionally, it made all the sense in the world. So a couple years later, I'm grateful it happened. You know, more power to them. I believe they're still up and running. I don't know. I haven't been keeping tabs. You know, letting distance do some healing. You know, but you know, more power to AT and the whole team over there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have always definitely seemed tight. Just in terms of your relationship, particularly you and AT. Why do you feel like that was the best move for you professionally? Because I think a lot of people, self-included, will look on the outside and be like, man, We Live as Kings was such a movement. It was, it was Billboard charts. It was amazing music coming out of that situation. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, we haven't heard the new album, so, so we don't have that perspective. But, you know, man, why do you say that was the best move for you?
I'll use his words and then I'll give my opinion. So his words, to me, upon separating, which was 2015, were like, hey man, I kind of reached my threshold with you in 2013. Like I didn't know what else to do with you. So I was grateful that he was that honest with me. Yeah. Obviously a little frustrated. Like, well, say that to me in 2013. But very grateful that he was honest.
Yeah.
And I was let go. You know, I didn't leave Collision. Like, there was no way that I contractually could contractually do that. So he was gracious enough to let me out of that situation. But in my opinion, just a lot of my questions upon that time were, what do we look like in 10 years? What does Collision look like, in 2025? What's our vision? How is our infrastructure fueling said vision? Just some of those questions weren't necessarily answered in the way that I would want them. So what I'm not saying is that he gave bad answers or that the team gave bad answers. It was just, for Swoope at the time, it was like, man, that's not really something that I can rock with, at the moment. So on the inside, there was healthy tension, healthy conflict, healthy turmoil that resulted in my departure, and again, it was a good move, man, now being affiliated with Native. Yep. And even just in the quiet time of the last 2 years and contemplating, life existentially, and not just being a rapper at the core, but like, no, you're a man, you're a human being, you're a Christian, you're a father, you're a husband, you're a brother, you're a friend. What does all of that look like without music? So it was a good move, man. I'm a beat this dead horse, man. I got nothing but love for the guys at Collision. But the facts are the facts, man. There just wasn't too much of a vision for what Swoope could do at Collision long term.
Sure. Where do you see yourself going as an artist, and where would you say you are right now?
I'm free, man, and I don't say that in connection with your last question to Collision, but I just feel free. It's like, man, I'm 30. I'll be 31 this weekend.
Happy early birthday, bro.
Appreciate it, man. I don't say this callously, but I'm not caught up on the pretense of what people are going to think if I speak truthfully. And I say that boldly as it pertains to proclaiming the gospel and what my life looks like on a day-to-day basis. So for non-believers, it's like, no, I'm not finna hide Jesus. And for believers, it's like, no, I'm not going to hide what my life looks like, So I talk about my struggles on Lambo, my financial struggles. There's, certain lines on the record that talk about alcohol or X, Y, and Z's, or what my relationship with my wife looks like on the good and bad side. Like, I just feel free, man, so I think you'll be able to hear said freedom in the music. So that's just where I've been at, where it's like, man, let life write the album. That was one of the mistakes I made on Cinema. I wrote Cinema. It was a good story, and I thought it was an okay album. I wrote Cinema to tour. I wrote Cinema for fans. I wrote Cinema to get at your conference or on your stage or on your platform or whatever. So it's like, no, we're gonna let life write this album, and it did. So I feel free, bro.
Has life, the past couple years since we've heard from you musically, how has life been for you?
Very easily, without question, no close second, toughest 2 years of my life.
Wow. Very
easily, no close second, without question, best 2 years of my life.
Wow. That's interesting.
Right. And I'm saying that on the other side of it, and stuff is still hard. Life is always going to be hard, and God is always going to be good. Those are constants. But, when you look through the scriptures, and it's like, man, when you see, we say, man, I want to be more like Jesus. Make me more like Christ and X, Y, and Z. And what you're really saying is, Lord, I want to suffer. Lord, I want to sacrifice. Because when you look at Jesus' movements throughout the scripture, those two things were always connected to his love, his sacrifice, and his suffering. So the Lord answered our prayers. Like, man, we want to be more like Jesus. And we had to go through, I'm speaking of my wife and my family, immense suffering, whether it be sickness in the family, whether it be death, whether it be crazy financial struggles, whether it be loneliness or being outcasted by people that you thought were your friends and family. Like everything, popular song, My Hope is Built on Nothing Less Than Jesus' Blood. and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame. So that's the line I want to focus on.
You
But
pulling
wholly
out
lean
that
in
Baptist Bible hymn book with the red cover and the gold letters, son.
Man. Right. Church through and through. But I had trusted the sweetest frame, the frame of relating. When you speak of frame, think of your bed. Your bed lays on a frame. I had trusted relationships. I had trusted money. I had trusted my reputation. I had trusted my musical career or my musical abilities or my rising stock in CHH. And the Lord snatched all of that.
Wow.
It's like, hey, you sing this song, but do you really mean I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name? So toughest 2 years, but easily best 2 years, man. I love Jesus more now than I did 2 years ago. I love my wife more now than I did 2 years ago. I am just thoroughly enjoying deep-rooted relationships and friendships more than I did 2 years ago. Because the Lord opened up my eyes to, what abundant life really looks like. And that's not necessarily money, fame, and success.
Sure. Was the difficulty, was the core that financial? Because obviously, I mean, when I first heard the Lambo song, I was like, wow, like, I mean, I never expected you to make a record like that. But two, I mean, it was a great record, and it came from like a really authentic place, man.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say the core of it was financial, but that was a large part of it. So it wasn't like, man, everything that's wrong in my life is related to money.
Sure.
But that line is so true. It's like, man, I wouldn't mind, being sad with money. I wouldn't mind crying in a Lambo, you know. But there are also lines on that song that speak to, how I felt about my mother going through. When I wrote the song, she was going through cancer for her second time.
Yeah.
She's just now getting into remission with cancer for her third time.
Wow.
So, I spoke about my mom. I spoke about, impaired relationships with my sisters, and just it's a lot of things. It wasn't just money, but that was the core of that song, not necessarily all of, the Swoope household struggles over the last couple of years. So I just wanted to be honest in that moment.
A lot of times money compounds things. So it's like you going through all of that. And on top of that, man, money tight right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, man. It would have been nice to, getting done arguing with my family or, whatever, to come home and things be well financially, but then to come home and they're not, it's just like, you kind of sink down deeper into that hole of, especially as the leader of the household. Like, man, what am I doing as a man? What am I worth? I can't even do X, Y, and Z for my kids. So it definitely exasperated a lot of different things.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. I definitely feel that, man. So how has life been on the road with Lecrae recently, bro? Like, I know I've seen you on Fallon, and I'm assuming you've been doing some other tour dates with him, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. Craig is a human being, man. And I count him as a close and dear friend. So the allure of Lecrae's fame vanishes once you realize his humanity. Like, he's a regular person.
Yeah.
So most of the time, I'm not saying this is why you're asking it. Most of the time when people ask, so how's it like being with Lecrae? They're asking like, so how's it like being with Jay-Z or Beyonce, like these
I go back with him 10 years,
characters.
Man. So I'm definitely asking from that perspective.
Yeah, man. So it's like, man, he cool.
Yeah.
It be like, it literally is like going on the road with your homies for an extended period of time, doing what you love and getting paid for it. So it's like,
well, I was more so thinking from you, just like some of the experiences that you're having. I mean, look, bro, like how many people can say they've been on Fallon with the Roots, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like played at the Super Bowl, I mean, like, all these different experiences you get as a part of, being on his team on the road.
Right. No, it's awesome, man. And I tell Craig all the time, man, like I'm thoroughly grateful because a lot of these things don't happen for us. And when I say us, I mean me, Nate the Beatbreaker, DJ Promote, and the whole team, without a lot of the work that he's done over the past, 12 years. So having access to be able to, not just go on Fallon, because going on Fallon was really nerve-wracking and fast. Like what y'all saw on Fallon was so fast, but spending the whole day, you know, being able to meet Layla Hathaway or shake James Poyser's hand, you know, a hero of mine, has been awesome, and that's directly due, you know, to his labor. So I'm always grateful.
Is there any possibility we'd ever get another We Live as Kings project at all?
Strong possibility. I won't be on it, but strong possibility, you know, especially if Collision is still up and running, which I'm assuming there are. You know, I see
think
Corey
they
doing
are.
stuff.
I talked to AT not too long ago. I didn't get the impression that they weren't up and running.
Yeah. I saw a flyer not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, for a We Live as Kings show, you know, with Dre, Corey, Alex, and Sean. So will you ever get another We Live as Kings album? I think it's possible. Maybe not necessarily plausible. Will I be a part of it? No, I won't.
I got you, bro. I'll leave that there, man. I'll leave that there, brother. This new album, man. Man, just talk about the concept, bro, and what people can expect. I mean, I know you talked about, you know, it's real life, you know, things that you've been going through the past couple of years, but just even musically and, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, content-wise, it is the underdog's anthem. And once the title comes out, like everything that I'm getting ready to say will make sense.
Sure.
But nothing about me says that I should make it or succeed or thrive or win. It's like 30 years old, 4 kids, not a lot of money, super quiet. I'm basically getting ready to be a brand new artist. Was in a bad deal with a record label. Doesn't make commercial music, in quotations, has been, you know, something that's been said about me and XYZ. So it's like, all right, so what does it look like to triumph over all of those negative obstacles? What does that look like? And this album is my story of that. So it's not me saying like, man, I'm the champ, I won, but it is like, no, I can win. I can succeed. I can triumph over, you know, all of these things. So that's what the album is about, content wise. And it's kind of like finding contentment in, you know, if I never make the Hall of Fame, or if I do make the Hall of Fame, it's like, man, I'm still made in the image of the Lord, and he's still my hope and sustenance. So finding contentment and security in Jesus, whether your, in quotations, success is how culture defines it. So yeah, that's what it is content wise. Sonically, it is all over the place without being schizophrenic. So it's like, man, I never want to lose my roots, my breakbeat and piano roots. So it's like you'll get that on a few songs, but then you also got a couple concert songs. You have some adult contemporary, like R&B sort of songs. It's like it feels grown up without feeling old, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to make let me watch myself before I get in trouble. I'm not trying to make an album like, man, we don't want to hear you anymore, you're too old. But I'm also not trying to, you know, keep up with a lot of the new young cats, you know, the Ty Brazzos and or Brazel, however you say it. It's like, man, he's killing it.
Yeah.
But he's not my contemporary. You know, him
Sure.
being 22, 23.
Yep.
Or even cats like, what's that kid's name? Stephen Malcolm. Like,
Yep.
they're killing it.
Yep.
But they're not my contemporaries.
Yep.
So it's like, how do I make a mature rap record without sounding old? And sonically, I think we achieved that.
Man, that's dope, bro. That's dope. How did you get into playing keys, bro?
It was like literally random. Most of the things that I do now were the Lord's orchestration and sovereignty, but they felt random to me. I mean, everybody knows how I just randomly started rapping one day.
Right.
But keys was the same way. Our youth choir at our church, which I was a part of at the time, I'm 15, we sang a song called One Family, and the harmonics really just struck a chord, ironically, in my heart and in my soul. And my mom said I came home and picked out the parts. Picked out all of the parts to play in my right hand and picked out the bass line in my left hand.
Wow.
And it just
like no piano lesson,
from
nothing? Just
not before that, nope.
wow.
I played a couple other instruments. I played drums, saxophone, and a couple other things.
I'm thinking you just like, I was just like, what?
Oh, no. And then my mom plays keys too, actually very well. So I had heard my aunt is a prolific pianist out in Memphis, Tennessee. So I had heard a lot of these things growing up. My uncle, Charles Myrick, is responsible for, cats like Greg O'Quinn,
sure.
Jay Moss.
Yep.
He had a hand in Kirk Franklin's God's Property record.
Yep.
So it's like music. I was surrounded by music, and it just took a while for it to catch. 15 is kind of late. You know what I'm saying? It just took a little minute to catch with me.
Yeah. I remember, man, we had some conversations before, and you had talked about at some point you would love to play for certain gospel musicians, man. Do you still, hold some of those goals and do you think about that from time to time?
Not necessarily.
Not anymore, right?
I think I would love to still meet certain people, but sure. I think the playing for stage has passed for me, specifically in gospel. Same way I'm not trying to keep up with, Stephen Malcolm and Ty and all of them. Man, I ain't trying to keep up with these young musicians these days.
Sure.
Like, the talent is just out of this world. So me trying to keep up with them to play for said gospel artists is just not a passion of mine anymore. And because I'm not passionate about it, I wouldn't work hard for it behind the scenes. I would still love to meet, some of my heroes. I'm dying to meet Kirk Franklin just because I respect how he moves in the culture. I'd love to meet, I've met Ty Tribbett, but I'd love to sit down and talk to him. Same thing with a Kiera Sheard or Fred Hammond and things like that. It's like, I'd love to meet y'all, but I ain't trying to, I could if I wanted to. I'm not trying to play for y'all.
I feel you. Would you consider doing records with gospel artists?
Yeah. What? Would love to.
I feel like you're one of the few people in our scene that could like really pull it off, and it would be like amazingly dope.
Yeah.
Like without it being cheesy, you know what I mean? Like,
I respect Kirk and Ty and Judith McAllister as much as I respect Kanye West and Jay-Z and Lupe Fiasco. It's just a different genre of music.
Yeah.
There is a school of thought. I won't put an adjective before, but there's a school of thought that all gospel music is bad because of certain practices in the black church. And I'm just not a part of that school of thought.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a part of it.
Yeah. I, in quotations, left the black church, and I say that because, I moved away from Akron, only to find out that, there's a whole lot of problems on the other side as well. So, gospel music and gospel artists have never been put in the evil category for me. They've never been, I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, to have an opportunity to work with some of the people that I highly esteem to this day, still, currently, presently, that'd be awesome. I'd love to. And I honestly don't think that that's too far away. Hint, hint.
Oh, I got you. So that sounds like something might have already cooked up or be cooking or something around those lines.
It could be on my album. It could be on somebody else's album. Who knows? Hint, hint.
I feel you. You got the talent to pull it off, man. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
I definitely, like I said, I feel like, with some, like, so I would love your thoughts on this. Somebody hit me the other day and they were like, has Kirk Franklin ever produced like an entire Christian rap album? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking in my mind, and I'm like, obviously Chris was signed to the label, but I don't think Kirk produced the whole album. I know he touched some records, but I don't think he, you know what I mean? Like that was, Chris and his team kind of cooked it. I know Truth and Kirk have a song together.
Mm-hmm.
many years ago, but I couldn't think of like a whole album, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I would love your thoughts on that, my G.
I wouldn't want to hear that. And the reason I wouldn't want to hear that is because Kirk does Kirk well, and he has for years. And I think there's a reason why Kirk has not produced a whole rap record over all of these years. I don't know if it's capacity. I don't know if it's capability. I don't know if it's passion. I don't know if it's time. But, I mean, Kirk's been in the game 20 plus years, and for us to think over those couple of decades and say, like, yeah, I don't think he's ever done X, Y, and Z, I'm pretty sure the opportunity to do so has been placed before him more than once. And the fact that he hasn't says to me, at least subjectively from my vantage point, that he doesn't want to. And I don't want to hear music from any musician that they don't want to make.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's like, man, Kirk is known for doing good work. The same way I wouldn't want to produce a country album just because, like, I don't think I could do that well. I don't know if that's his reasoning, but it wouldn't be a far-fetched reason if it was. It's like, that's not necessarily something that I would be like, man, I'd love to hear that. You know, the one song he's got with Truth, the couple songs he's touched with Chris, and here and there, you know what I'm saying, with other hip-hop influences, I think is enough for me concerning Kirk and rap.
I would like to hear it, man. I'll tell you why I would like to hear it, bro. And I hear what you're saying. Like, I totally hear what you're saying, even reading between the lines. Like, I hear what you're saying. But I feel like there's so many elements of his production and songwriting in certain spaces that are hip-hop, with samples, the way he does drums at times. I mean, sometimes you got to be inspired to step out of your comfort zone as a musician. Maybe the inspiration hasn't been there, right? So I feel like if it was the right situation and he was inspired, I think it would be amazing. Maybe we're saying the same thing, but
possibly. Yeah.
I think if he was inspired, I think it would be amazing, bro.
I think Ultralight Beam was phenomenal. So if it was that sort of situation where it's like,
but I don't think he did that from the beginning, though, right? I thought thought that was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like but you could feel Kirk on it.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, you didn't necessarily, you weren't the genesis of this.
Yep.
But you still added a nice golden touch and golden stamp to the record. So that sort of situation, I think I'd be intrigued by. But a Kirk hip hop rap record from the ground up, I don't know, man. I'm I don't think that's something that I'd be like overly excited about. And it's definitely, as you said, not because of his ability. Yeah. Because I mean, he's been hip hop through and through for years.
Right.
You know, specifically with the sampling. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is hip hop.
Yep.
Like, hip hop was literally birthed on sampling. So, I agree with you there. Maybe it's because I don't have enough of a rap context with Kirk to be like, yeah, I'd be excited about that. You know, so.
Okay. Stellar Awards announced they're doing a Christian rap award show over the weekend. According to my man Gerard Bonner. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm glad this is your first time hearing this because I would love your thoughts. First thing comes to mind.
Oof. I'm gonna get myself in trouble, boy. I would say, welcome to the party.
Welcome.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
Welcome.
So there's two things articulated in that sentence. Welcome, meaning like, hey, you are accepted here, you're invited here, glad you're doing that, but then you're also extremely late. And what my first thought when you said that, honestly, was, man, that feels desperate. The Stellar Awards are the Stellar Awards. There are pros and cons there. So, you know, we'll leave that where it is. There's just, you know, unprocessed thoughts. This is literally the first time I'm hearing this. It just feels a little like, oh, they're doing well? Maybe we should, as opposed to like, man, we have a genuine appreciation for that culture.
Yep.
What can we do to celebrate it and give it even more of a platform? It does not feel like that to me upon first hearing it. I'd love to do some, research and, what spurred them on to do that.
But see, I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. But I feel like everybody's been coming late to the party like that. I feel like we seen it with some of these radio situations. We're seeing it with some of these record labels. Like, I mean, let's face it, bruh. Lecrae sold a lot of records, started winning some Grammys. Then a lot of people said, man, this sounds like a really good party over here. We need to come and be a part of it and see if we can,
Yeah. Well, here's why I would say, I don't know, because that's a focus on Lecrae.
Yeah.
Like, name me another Christian hip hop artist in the last X amount of years that sold 500,000 records.
Right.
That has 3 Grammys.
Yep.
That is a regularly appearing, artist on Sway in the Morning or Hot 97 or Breakfast Club. It's like Lecrae has.
He's an anomaly, right?
He's an anomaly. Yes, thank you. So it's like that is not. We can't even follow his footsteps. Like, there's no artist that could say they, started here, started a record label, signed a few artists, and then a decade later have all of these things. Like, nobody else has that trajectory. So to sit under the auspice that, like, oh, if he's doing that, then these other 35 to 40 artists must be getting ready to do it as well. It's like, I don't think so. So it sounds like, you want the Stellar Lecrae Awards as opposed to the Stellar Hip Hop Awards. Like, if that's their motive, because if that's the motive, it's like nobody else is doing that, and we're so happy that Lecrae is doing that. Like, nobody's throwing shade. Like, man, I love how Lecrae is moving in the culture, but it's like he's the only one. You know what I'm saying? That's doing some of the things that he's doing numbers wise. We definitely got cats in the culture. Gibbs is over there. Givens is over there. Minio is making his way. And so many others.
I feel you, brother. That's wisdom. That's definitely wisdom, man.
Yeah.
I actually I talked to KB a bit about this situation, and I think we're probably going to do another interview soon. But a lot of people, I think, are even just wondering about this whole situation you got with Swoope and KB and Natalie, and just even understanding what it is, because obviously there's a merch component, there's a music component. I think there's some other things that they're working on. So just talk a bit about that, because obviously that's your new music situation.
Yeah. So Native North is a full service creative agency. So not just merch, not just music, not just photography, but all art. All creatives can find a house under Native. Obviously, my portion is on the music side and things like that. But it's really just it's a place that is catered towards the artist, like all the way down to the contracts. It's like there's a business partner that's a part of Native that saw the contracts and was like, really? Like, but we're not going to make too much money off of that. And, Nat and KB were like, well, that's the point. Like, we want to empower artists. Like, we don't want, slavery contracts. We want contracts that benefit the artists, because God, the truth is, they're going to be doing most of the work. So that's just the whole mindset behind Native, empowering the artists, preaching the gospel in the culture in an unorthodox manner. So you have a KB who will literally, give you chunks of scripture in his rapping, and then you have a me where it's going to be like, man, this is a lot of life music that's going to ultimately at least make you question whether or not there is a God, whether or not Jesus is real. Because the pervasive question, the continual question that's going to happen throughout my album is like, well, how did you make it? How do you still have hope? How do you X, Y, and Z? So it's like, then there's me on the other side of the spectrum that's pointing you to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So all about artist empowerment, all about Black empowerment, all about Black economic empowerment, artist freedom, creative freedom. It's just a good situation, man. It's hard to say, hey, this is what Native is, outside of saying it's a full service creative agency, because it does so many things.
Man, that's dope. That's really dope. How have you been able? Because one of the things, bro, that I can really tell about you is that, and I would actually say I think most artists that I talk to don't necessarily have this level of appreciation. But you seem to have a level of appreciation for all the different schools of thought when it comes to how we do music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So obviously you have your own philosophy how you do your music. Clearly you're good friends with Lecrae. He does what he does. You're at Tripp's church. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
you've done a ton of music with Kristen Gray. That's your guy. Like, you have this
yep,
appreciation that I think a lot of, because when you talk to a lot of people, it's almost like my way is the way.
yep,
And so how have you kind of come to that? I mean, even Show Barack. I mean, how could I forget? One of
yep,
the first
yep,
times we heard you was with Show. You know what I mean?
yep. Because nobody's right. Nobody's right. Like, we are all fallen human beings. So we may feel that we're more right than the next person, but we're not right. Like, we're not 100% correct, in full totality. So there's things that Craig's getting right. There's things that Craig's getting wrong. There's things that Tripp's getting right. There's things that Tripp's getting wrong. There's things that I'm getting right. There's things that I'm getting wrong. So it's kind of like, you can say there's things that this person is getting right, this person is getting wrong for everybody that you just mentioned. And when you take that into account, there has to be a measure of grace that's applied. Should there be contests to certain things? Yeah. Paul and Barnabas argue all the time, like to the extent that they had to split for a while. That's not to say that Paul wasn't a believer. That's not to say that Barnabas wasn't a believer. That's not what it says at all. It says they had different schools of thought
Yeah.
on certain things. But there was grace, there was reconciliation, there was the reality of and the humility of I could be wrong. And I think that's where the conversation starts to turn south with certain artists and certain people where it's like, you don't ever think that you're wrong. And I know that I could be. So it's like, man, I could be wrong for like making a full gospel song on my next album. I could be wrong for that. I could be wrong for making a song about arguing with my wife. I don't know. It's like, man, I want to speak honestly. I want to speak truthfully. I want to speak within the counsel and the wisdom of the scriptures and community and live life, man. I ain't here to be nobody's judge, you know what I'm saying, eternally. Like, I cannot point at this person and say he's not a believer because he does X, Y, and Z. I can look at the fruit on the tree and make informed opinions and assumptions from there. But it's like, man, I ain't nobody's judge. So that sort of grace, that sort of harmony allows me to link arms with a Lecrae, allows me to link arms with a Show, with a Nat, with a KB, with a Tripp, with a Chris, with a Taylor Gray, with a Jeremiah Givens. Like, that's 50 million schools of thoughts
That's
there.
a
But it's
lot
like,
of schools
man,
of thought.
right. So we was talking about leaving my mom's church earlier. Like,
Yeah.
my mom and I had some very heated theological arguments because, I get introduced to this, in quotations, new school of thought concerning the scriptures, and I feel like I know it all, and I didn't. But one of the things that we ended with was, hey, if we can keep Jesus the main thing, if we can keep Jesus as macro, we can argue about all of the micro. But when Jesus is in question, we have a real problem. And all of the people that I'm linking arms with, that's the main thing. It's like, hey, you may go down Main Street to get to Jesus. You may turn down Hawkins to get to Jesus. You may go all the way up Peachtree and then come down 75 and then cross over 20 to get to Jesus. But as long as that is the goal, as long as Jesus is the main thing, I can link arms with you. And it looks different for everybody, but it's like, man, that's what grace looks like. We can sameness. Oneness does not mean sameness. We can be one and not be the same.
Yeah. Looking back on Same Team, was that some of your heart behind that record? I mean, because that was,
Oh yeah,
and I know it's like you're progressing, but I mean, bro, that was such a moment and a big, like, it was almost like the momentum and just the whole aura around the song was even bigger than the song itself because of what
for
it
sure,
symbolized.
for sure. It was definitely bigger than the song itself, which was like, for me, mission accomplished. Like, this wasn't supposed to be about me. It wasn't supposed to be about how great of a song, it was. The God honest truth is, John Gibbs out-rapped me on that song, so it couldn't have been about me in the first place. Even though my verse was hard. Let's just put that in there.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, everybody wants to belong. You know what I'm saying? That's why gangs exist.
Yep.
That's why cults exist.
Yep.
It's like people want to belong. You know what I'm saying? That's why, Paul says there's one body, one faith, one baptism. That's why Jesus prays, Lord, make them one. It's like everybody wants to belong. So when you champion unity, like, cats grab onto that. It wasn't about, man, if you believe this about Jesus, or if you believe this about Jesus, it's just like, hey, if you believe Jesus, like this, we can talk about on another song, we can talk about at another conference, we can talk about X, Y, and Z. But if you believe in Jesus, you're part of this team. And I think people just latched on to that because everybody wants to belong.
Hey, real quick, man. I don't know if I've ever quite heard you talk about this, but I remember pieces of the story. Like, I know one of the things that inspired the song was a verse I think that Yavis spit somewhere, like a acapella, and it ended up becoming part of the hook. But just walk us through, like, man, just the creation of that song.
Yeah, so it's definitely a old Yah verse. I don't even remember the verse because the line was that hard. He literally said, I think I need speaking of the gospel, I think I need an ad-lib from Diddy. So I'm going to take that to each and every city.
Yeah.
So when, AT and I from Collision were brainstorming through, man, what does it look like, to take this unity, to take this oneness, to take this mission, to every city, that triggered the Yabez line. So, I shot him a text like, hey, buddy, would you mind? Yabez is my bro. So he's like, yeah, go for it. And it becomes one of those things where it's like, yeah, so that wasn't something that I thought of. Like, that was inception. Like, the Lord placed that idea in my mind, and I just got to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things you kind of look back and say that was kind of out of body, especially with how big, as you said, the song and the mission behind the song got. Like, that's not something that I could think of. That was the Lord's work, 100%.
And I felt like one of the things that made it great was that, for the most part, you had just about every crew, well, not every crew, but most of the crews in Christian rap were involved in it some kind of way. God Over Money wasn't, I don't think RMG.
Yeah, so it was relationship based. I'm not sure if I reached out to Derek at all, because me and Derek are definitely boys.
Yeah.
But I don't really know, the God Over Money cats that well. But to have all of those crews on the song and on the remix was extremely intentional. So It was like, it would have been very easy to just put the Collision crew on. Like, all right, we'll make the song. Me, Alex, Trey, and Chris. Like, that would have been easy. It was like, that becomes our team, not everybody's team. So it's like, man, we're going to reach out to Givens. We're going to reach out to Gibb. We're going to reach out to Kid, or what's his name, Isaiah Ziv.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to reach out to KB. We're going to reach out to Yav on the remix, and Jackie. Is like, how many, even though Jackie was a double with Humble Beast, it was like, this speaks to sexism. It's like, no, we're not going to lock women out of this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On top of Jackie can out-rap everybody, so it's like, of course. Yeah, man, that was definitely intentional.
It's dope, man. So, it seems like you've been kind of secretive about this project, brother. We don't know when it's dropping. We don't know the title. We don't know the features. I feel like you just going to spring it on us one day, man.
Possibly. I mean, it's like, there's no rules anymore.
Sure.
Like, with streaming and Beyonce, there's no rules. So streaming did what it did to sales, and then Beyonce dropping albums when she wants. So there's no rules anymore. Obviously, I don't have the cultural clout that Beyonce does.
Sure.
It's like there's no rules. So the album could come out tomorrow. It could come out in December. We'll see. But
man,
it's
I will
good
put
record,
money.
bro.
I will put money on it not coming out in December, man.
Yeah, me too. It'll be out soon. Right now, we're being meticulous.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, this album is not bigger than CHH. I would never be arrogant enough to say that. But it services more audiences than CHH. So to just say, hey, Christian hip hop website, here's my album. Can you premiere it on your front page for the next week or so? And that be it would be spitting in God's face. Like, God gives us this gift through these songs that will hopefully spark conversations that lead to gospel conversions. And, we don't want to trifle it away on a small amount of people, because though Christian hip hop is tight, it is small.
Yep.
When it is very clear that it could service a large amount of people. So a lot of the secrecy is we are being extremely meticulous about whose hands are we trying to get this into now to form some partnerships. And if some of those things go up in smoke, then it's on the internet. So we're just being wise.
Smart, brother. It's smart, man. Swoope, honestly, man, always appreciate doing these with you, brother. Like I said, it felt like I couldn't even remember the last time we did it. I knew it was at a Legacy conference some point, man. So, it's been a lot going on, bro. Can't wait to hear the record, man. And I'm it seems like you're in a really good space too, man. So that's great too.
Yeah, the Lord's been good, bro. Like I said, I'm not my theme for 2017. I told my mom about a couple weeks ago is embrace the tension. So it's like the tension is there, and the more you try to fight it, the more you create more tension. The tension is not going away. Like any man born of a woman, which we all are, their days will be full of trouble. And if I believe that the scriptures are absolute truth, that tension exists. Sure. It's like, man, truth was prophetic in saying life is hard, but God is good. So there's a tension in that statement, but both sentences are true. Life is definitely hard, but at the end of the day, the Lord is good. So I am in a good place, bro.
Man, that's what's up, man. Well, bro, we'll be on the lookout for the record, man, and definitely be praying for you, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
On the W.L.A.K radio show. On the W.L.A.K radio. On the W.L.A.K radio show, where it's much more than music, it's ministry.